This decision didn't happen on a battlefield. There were no crowds, no cameras, no dramatic countdown. It happened underground, in silence, in a room designed to survive the end of the world. And yet, this decision may have saved more lives than any war ever ended. On September 26, 1983, humanity came closer to extinction than it ever knew. Not because someone wanted destruction, not because of ideology or hatred, but because a machine believed it was seeing the truth, and one man decided not to believe it. To understand how fragile that moment was, you need to understand the world before it. The Cold War was no longer a conflict of words, it was a permanent state of fear. The United States and the Soviet Union didn't wait for proof anymore, they prepared for betrayal. Nuclear weapons weren't just symbols, they were loaded systems. Missiles stood ready in underground silos, submarines patrolled the oceans with orders sealed in envelopes. Bombers flew routes designed to end civilization in hours. Both sides believed the same thing: if the other side strikes first, hesitation equals death. So, hesitation was engineered out of the system. Earlier that same month, the tension had exploded. A civilian airplane, Korean Airlines Flight 007, accidentally entered Soviet airspace. Soviet defenses shot it down. 269 people died, families, children, innocent passengers. The United States called it murder. The Soviet Union called it protection. Diplomacy collapsed overnight. Military alert levels rose, exercises intensify. Nuclear forces were placed closer to launch readiness than ever before. Both sides believed war was not a question of if, but when. And in that atmosphere, technology became judge, jury, and executioner. The Soviet Union relied on an early warning satellite system designed to detect American missile launches within seconds. Satellites scanned the Earth for infrared signatures. Computers analyzed trajectories, algorithms calculated intent. Humans still existed in the loop, but only to confirm what the system already knew. They weren't there to think. They were there to obey, because obedience was faster than doubt. Deep underground, far from cities and sunlight, stood a command center few people knew existed. Concrete walls, no windows, constant artificial light. This was the room where the Soviet Union would learn the world was ending. On the night of September 26, 1983, that room belonged to Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov. Petrov was not famous, he was not powerful. He was not meant to make history, he was chosen because he was reliable, calm, disciplined, predictable. The system did not want heroes, it wanted compliance. At 12:14 a.m., the calm vanished. Sirens exploded through the room, red warning lights flooded the walls. Operators froze at their stations. On the main screen, a message appeared. Missile launch detected, 1 missile. The system was confident. Petrov felt his chest tighten. This was not a drill. Then the screen updated. A second missile. Then a third, then a fourth, then a fifth. The alert level escalated automatically. According to the system, the United States had launched a nuclear attack. Protocol activated instantly. Petrov now had minutes, possibly less. His responsibility was brutally simple: pick up the phone, report the attack, do not delay. That call would travel up the chain of command, from generals to political leadership. And within minutes, a retaliatory strike would almost certainly be ordered. Hundreds of missiles would launch in response. Cities would disappear, oceans would burn. Civilization would collapse in hours, all because the system said it had already begun. Petrov looked around the room. Young officers stared at their screens. Some were pale, some were shaking. No one spoke. The machines were certain. But machines don't feel fear. Machines don't imagine consequences. Machines don't bury children. Petrov did. His heart was pounding. Sweat soaked his uniform. The alarms drilled into his skull. The phone sat inches from his hand. This was the call that could end the world. This was moment zero, the precise point where history stopped being automatic. Petrov stared at the data. 5 missiles, only 5. His training told him to ignore that thought, but his instinct refused to let go. A real American first strike would not be limited, it would be overwhelming, devastating, designed to erase any chance of retaliation. This didn't look like that, this looked wrong. But doubt was dangerous. If Petrov was wrong and delayed, the Soviet Union could be destroyed without responding. If he was right and followed protocol anyway, There would be no world left to regret it. His mind raced, every second of hesitation felt like treason. The system screamed for action, the phone waited. Petrov did something the system was never designed to allow. He hesitated. In a structure built to eliminate human judgment, he inserted it back in. Seconds passed, each one felt heavier than the last. Finally, he made his choice. He reported the alert as a false alarm. Not because he had proof, not because protocol allowed it, but because he believed the machine was wrong. Then came the longest minutes of his life, waiting. If the missiles were real, ground radar would soon confirm incoming trajectories. If nothing appeared, he was right. 30 seconds, 1 minute. No confirmation. 2 minutes, still nothing. Operators exchanged glances. The alarms continue. Then the ground radar reported nothing. No objects, no impacts, no explosions. The system had failed. The satellites had mistaken sunlight reflecting off high-altitude clouds for missile launches. Nature had fooled the machine, and one man had refused to obey it. The world survived without ever knowing it was in danger. There were no celebrations, no medals, no gratitude. Petrov was criticized for improper reporting procedures. His paperwork was questioned, his behavior documented. The incident was classified and buried. Admitting the truth would expose something terrifying, that global survival depended on flawed technology and fragile humans. Petrov left the military. He lived quietly. For years, he told almost no one about that night. The weight never left him. The consequences, however, spread silently. The incident later influenced discussions about nuclear command systems. It exposed the danger of automation without human judgment. It revealed a horrifying paradox. The systems designed to protect humanity can destroy it faster than wisdom can intervene. And it raised a question that still has no answer. What if the next person doesn't hesitate? Here is the truth no one likes to admit. Humanity did not survive because of power, or intelligence, or superior weapons. It survived because one man doubted a machine. If Petrov had trusted the system more than himself, if he had been more disciplined, more obedient, there would be no future to debate. No internet, no videos, no comments, just silence. All because of one phone call that never happened. One quiet decision, one fragile human instinct, moment zero. And the most unsettling part is this. The world still depends on people like him hoping they hesitate when the system tells them not to. Thanks for watching. If this story made you think, consider subscribing for more moments from history that change everything.